Hey, what's up, everybody? Time for another game theory rambling sort of video. If you like the videos, like, sub, silly comment, share, support the channel if you can. I appreciate it. Thanks. Super chat, PayPal, Patreon, super comment the video, whatever it's called, if you want. You know, it's been what? Is it 3 years now since Street Fighter 6 was first showed off? I think it is, right? And I was watching some of that combo breaker now, and it's just like, dude, people ask me to talk about games and everything like this, and I got a comment recently, and they're like, well, if games are so homogenized, how do you actually make a system that isn't homogenized and you can actually show off characters? And it's almost like, are you trolling me? Do you watch the videos about, I know they're long videos and they're very nerdy, right? But I am a nerd, right? But I've made many videos about how I would make a fighting game, how I would redo a fighting game to make it, interesting and make it not homogenized. And so every character can use a system in a unique way, because ultimately I didn't watch all of Combo Breaker. I watched maybe, I don't know, maybe a half hour or so or something like that, right? And I just think Street Fighter 6, when you look at it, it's just exactly what I was talking about, how the game was going to turn out, dude, right? How I make all these game theory videos is just the tug of war of my meter versus your meter, dude. And this magnet effect that has only gotten worse as fighting games have gone on, right? You look at a character like Mai, right? And I actually think it's fun watching Mai. Well, about as much fun as I can have watching Street Fighter 6, right? But I just think it's interesting that, I said right when I started saying how Street Fighter 6 was going to work, I started watching some of the videos, which would have been almost 3 years ago now, right? Because I was a few weeks late to getting it because I was traveling at the time. But, I was watching the videos, and then I saw Ryu did the Slimer to overhead. And, I made those videos and I'm like, oh my God, please. I hope this game isn't just going to be everyone is using the meter in the same way. And I'm like, please don't tell me I'm going to watch a video after this and you're going to see Guile does a Slimer to overhead link. Please tell me this character isn't going to have their version of overhead link too. And I saw that and I'm like, oh God, this game is totally. And then I saw how people were poking and I was like, oh God, no pokes can miss you. There's no character difference in the hurt boxes or anything. Everyone's going to be poking you the same way. It's just going to be your meter versus my meter, Slimer this, Slimer that. And then, people commented, some people, oh, wait till everyone starts calling it Slimer. And then I saw the haters like, no one's ever going to call it Slimer because that's not how the game is going to work. And it's just 3 years later, and that's what it is. You have all these characters like Mai who, it is such a great example of what fighting games have become when we talk about the magnet effect and how heavy characters are, and characters just using, the meter is more important than the characters now, right? The system is more important than the characters, right? And again, that's to say I have, about as much fun as I can have watching a character like Mai in Street Fighter 6, but I think it's interesting that you have a character like Mai who they took out her being able to jump to different walls to do wall dives, because God forbid a character is not constantly in your face with this magnet pull. Characters are constantly drawn to each other. Characters feel so heavy you can't jump back and do normals. Like, think about that. A character like Mai who is supposed to be a ninja. I think I only saw Mai do a couple of dives in all the matches I watched, which I didn't watch that much, right? I only watched about a half hour, but I'm like, a character like Mai who is supposed to be jumping to different walls isn't even in the game anymore. And she just has this one like air dive move. And I only saw it in a homogenized fashion, how they gave, oh yeah, characters, their jump medium punch, not just Ryu, it juggles you, which then makes Ryu not unique anymore, right? You have a character like Mai who you think about, oh, one of her weaknesses is her fireball. You can hit it, right? And so it's not an actual projectile. And in this half hour of matches that I watched, how often did I see Mai actually her projectile not acting as a projectile? Not very often, because guess what? Characters are so drawn to each other. It's just, I hit you, you hit me. I hit you, you hit me. When's this tug of war of us going to be fighting over our meter? going to be, burnt out. That's what it's called, burnt out, right? It just is back and forth, back, forth, back, forth. It's just is, it's interesting that, again, I said so many times that these characters, if you don't look at the system, you're like, whoa, these characters must be the most unique that they've ever been in a game. But then when you actually start to see how the game is played and you see like the properties of moves, and you see every character basically has the same hurt box, every move, every character has their version of the same move. This is my poking move here. This is my poking move here. Pokes can't miss. Characters feel so heavy and they're just drawn to each other, right? The meter is more important. Characters can't use the system in a unique way because it's like the game is made by a robot. God forbid there is any individuality in the game, right? Again, Mai is such a perfect example of a character that you look at her and she's like, wow, that's a character. Wow, I wonder how her wall dodge and everything's going to look at this game. It's not in the game. Her original moves are not in the game. And you're like, oh, that's kind of weird. So this is the magnet effect that I talk about. Like, oh, well, her fireball, you can knock it away. Oh, that's kind of interesting. I wonder how often we'll see that. Oh, well, the game isn't really played like that because you're sucked into each other. Oh, yeah. So that doesn't really come up that often. Pretty rarely, right? I don't know, man. Just as the tug of war, dude. It's been 3 years since I said how the game was going to work. And is it not the same? The haters like, it's, oh, my meter versus your meter. Oh, it's like a card game. When am I going to use my card here? I mean, look at those videos, dude. I mean, it's like a card game. You're robotic. It's like, you didn't know I was going to play my card here, but I played my card here because I'm saving my meter for this. Oh, but you didn't know I was going to save my meter for this. Oh, my blah, blah, back, forth, back, forth. It's kind of like, it's just homogenized. Where's the individuality in the game? And again, it's like, it's not terrible to watch just a little bit, but again, it's not like, God, I cringe even saying it. It's just not, you can watch Super Turbo, and Super Turbo was made 30 years ago and characters are still unique. It's so weird. Back forth. Like there was one match where it was the Ryu guy versus Ryu guy. And I was listening to the commentators and they're like, oh yeah, finally, this is real Street Fighter here. Just two karate guys versus each other. This is going to be just like a classic Street Fighter match. I'm like, no, it's not. What are you talking about? It's like, yeah, it's just going to be all Hadokens back and forth, fireball wars. And I'm like, no, it's not. And then like, yeah, it's going to be a lot of Hashogekis. And I'm like, okay, now you're being a little bit truthful because it was a lot of goddamn fucking palm strike. This is not how Street Fighter was played back and forth. This is not how Ryu was played. And then they saved themselves because like, oh yeah, a lot of Hashogekis. I'm like, okay, well that move wasn't in Street Fighter 2. Just stop. Classic Street Fighter, my ass. Give me a break. I still think, the most interesting thing about the game mechanically is I do like how dizzies work. I think the dizzy stuff, being burnt out and then being able to get dizzied by the drive impact I think that's an interesting actual progression, a different way to add dizzies into the game that is fun and different. But, generally speaking, it gets so boring. Just like, oh, this is my meter's used for this. My meter's used for this. Oh, we all have our same version of the same move. We all play the same game. It just gets a little boring, dude. My meter versus your meter. And then, oh God. And then once, of course, what was it? However long the game came out, they're like, oh, people are like, oh, well, Clayton wasn't right because, every game is my meter versus your meter. No, it's not. That is not how games worked back in the day. If anything, Alpha 2 is actually probably the first example of a game where my meter versus your meter. Certainly it's not Super Turbo. How many times have I said not even every character uses supers? Okay, so that doesn't work. Even a game like Alpha 1, again, I always use Alpha 1 because Alpha 1 is a ghetto game, right? It's an ugly game, but somehow Alpha 1 somehow is better made than Alpha 2. It's not that I think that Alpha 1 is an amazing game. It's just that somehow Alpha 1 is a better made game than Alpha 2, even though it shouldn't be, right? Not every game is your meter versus my meter. Oh, this is how we do our invincible move. And, I guess you could say, so for Street Fighter 6 too, I've said before, I guess there's a little bit of the mental stack or the mind game of, oh, maybe I'm going to be burnt out. So do I waste a super here because I don't want to be burnt out? You know what I mean? That's a little interesting. But again, even supers, what did I say was one of my biggest fears when the game was coming out. I'm like, oh God, I like that, and I've said, even if I was making a fighting game, I would do the same thing. Try to separate EX moves and your versatile meter between supers, because too often when versatile things are effective, there's no reason to use the super, right? Which is one of the problems of Guilty Gear, is that supers are just not as effective as they could be, because versatile usages of the meter are just better usages of your meter, right? Excuse me. So that was one of the things I said. I would have done that when Street Fighter 6 was coming out, right? But then I looked at the supers and I'm like, oh God, please. I like that they're separate, but please don't make supers just generally combo fodder. And that's what they are. Generally speaking, supers are just your combo fodder. So they're not unique. It's not a unique thing. Yes, I know there's a couple of unique supers in the game that are not used as combo fodder, but that's generally the exception to the rule. The only other exception would be like, oh, I'm kind of afraid that I'm going to be burnt out or something, or I don't have meter. But it's not like a game, again, like say, I'll use it again. Alpha 1. Alpha 1 has unique supers. Everyone's super is something different. Not everyone has the same super for the same circumstance. Not everyone's super is a combo super, blah, blah, blah. Not Street Fighter 6. I don't know. I just think 3 years of Street Fighter 6 and the game is just not different. Just as my meter versus your meter, just full magnet effect on display of the characters. Despite the characters being supposed to be jumping away from you, they just removed it out of the game, dude. I don't know. I digress. As I look into the sunset, here we go. There's a peaceful picture of Pikachu. Enjoy Pikachu looking off into the sunset.